I'm not allowed to leave my confines. The serious one. This is where it gets deep, it gets gritty. It's where you've kind of really got to lock in. It hits you. What is the best sandwich? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Uncensored Podcast. I am your host, Riley, once again with no host because I can only count on myself for these. It should be episode 80, but I'm probably wrong. I hope you enjoyed that special episode from last week, but we are joined by a guest today, so would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, so my name is Nick Lowitz. I'm the sort of singer and songwriter in the band Midland Railway.
Amazing. So I always ask the same question to begin with because it's easy, it flows right in. How did your band come together and form?
Okay, so it was quite a long time ago, a very long time ago. It was 2004, and we my first band had just split up, and my friend Rob kind of wanted to join a band and played guitar a bit, so we started sort of practicing a bit together. And then we got David, who played drums in my first band. We got him involved on drums again, and we wanted a name that was sort of, I don't know, something that would allow us to make really nerdy jokes, but not be so silly that the serious songs wouldn't be taken seriously. So we sort of, and Midland Railway was the best name we thought of at the time, and it kind of stuck, and we kind of came to quite like it. So we've gone under that name ever since.
That's fair enough. And yeah, that was my next question. How did you get to the name? And so you said to stuck with that name. And how long exactly has the band been running?
So it's 20 years and 6 months since our first gig. Although not in a kind of non-stop way. It was we were very, very busy from 2004 through to 2007, just playing everywhere. And then at the start of 2008, we took quite a long kind of hiatus through to really 2013, when we kind of got everything. Well, it's quite a long story, but 2013, we'd all got together for Sarah's wedding because she's our bass player, and she got married the year before, and we were kind of we'll get on really well together. We should, we can all do this stuff in the band together as well. Why aren't we doing that? That we should do.
Yeah.
So we then did a few gigs from then through to 2018 when David tragically got cancer and died, and we didn't do anything from that was definitely the sort of darkest point in the band's history, really, by a long way. So we had another sort of quite long pause from then through to, it was during the lockdown that we kind of got things going again. And we sort of, it was a strange kind of way that this most recent phase of the band kind of came about, really, because we'd got these songs that we'd been playing by then for ages. We didn't have any kind of decent recordings of most of them. So we were kind of it's always a bit of a, we should have some proper recordings before we kind of call it a day, so that we've got something to, because that's what, when in years to come, when the band that you're in wants, that's the thing that people are going to judge you on, what do the recordings sound like, not what gigs you played or where or who you played to or whatever. So so it just seemed like the piece of the puzzle that was really missing. And then we once we did start recording the songs properly, they were received way better than I think we'd maybe expected. It was a bit, kind of thought that that our music was worth recording properly, but it's kind of been a lot better received than what we'd probably imagined. And then it was a bit let's sort of see how far this can go, see what can we turn these recordings into a full album, which that was not easy to do because we'd kind of we'd recorded them in such a uncoordinated way because it wasn't ever intended to become an album. But then, so it took quite a lot of editing to try and kind of get everything to mesh together reasonably well. And it's been a long process. But then, end of last year, we finally had the album finished, and then we released it at this. Well, it was on Valentine's Day this year. So we're finally, our debut album is finally out.
Amazing.
And we've had, we've probably had more press in these last 6 months or so, well, no less than that, last 3 months, than in the other 20 and a bit years combined. So it's been a strange, certainly not the kind of conventional journey that bands go on to get to their first album, but I don't know, I suppose each band has a different sets of obstacles to try and work through, and I'm liking where we are now, and it's it feels like kind of an exciting time for the band, actually.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, what, like you say, it wasn't the conventional way up, but what is conventional? I mean, conventional is just whatever enough people conveniently went through, like similar pathways. I don't like convention. Like I understand there's normality, but normality is just what people have accepted to conform to. It's like I don't care. I just try to preach, just do what you want at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, it's quite, I mean, this could be quite a long topic to go into, but I think the sort of age in the music industry thing is quite a fascinating subject in some ways, because I remember when I reached 27, it's like, well, this is where it ended for Kurt Cobain, and if we haven't really got anywhere by the time of 27, well, what's the point of carrying on now? And that was kind of a factor in us taking a really long hiatus, and because it was like, well, we're too old now, and that feels kind of ridiculous now. But I guess on some level, I almost want to see what it is possible to do, at the age that we're at now. It's like maybe there's it's a way of sort of testing what's possible to some extent,
Yeah, definitely.
Because when I first, I was just going to say,
please finish.
When I first started playing live music, I was almost always in like the young. Well, in fact, I was the youngest member of my first band when we first formed, and we would, we were usually the youngest band on the bill, and now I'm now the oldest member of the band, and usually we're like the oldest people within like a 5-mile radius of the venue or something. It's like the music industry is mostly quite young people.
But I think is they say music's a bit of a revolving door, don't they? There's constantly new bands going in and out, but at the same time, it's not always that linear, because like you said, you've just released your first album, and I almost think a lot of the time music transcends age. I feel like it's more timing than age. Like it doesn't matter what age you are, if you release something and it connects with the right people, the right audience, like that's gonna latch on.
Yeah, no, I agree actually. And it was, when we played to some of the gigs that we played, we've been playing to, undergraduates and people and teenagers who are like just way younger than us, and it's like, will they kind of be into it, or are they going to be like, who are these people who are like my parents' age or something? And they would generally actually go down really well with those crowds. It's sort of and I suppose actually there's bands from some of the rock bands from the 90s and early noughties are as popular now as ever. So it's kind of so those bands being slightly generally a little bit older than us, that doesn't put people off listening to the more famous bands. So in a way, it's I don't know. I think a lot of it is just kind of the perception. It's like it's an issue for some people, but there's others where it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I touched on your album a minute ago, when you were creating that, what inspirations were you pulling from? I mean, of course, music, but also were there other like, outside factors, maybe things you enjoy in life that you were really just trying to hone in and channel into the music itself?
Well, I think so. In writing the songs, I think, I guess, in as like we were just talking about, really, music has to kind of really connect with the listener on some level, and I think there's a few ways of doing that, and some people, I think it's quite a common kind of technique where people will often write the lyrics in a way that's deliberately a little bit vague, so that people can kind of fill in the gaps and kind of make it relevant to them. But I also really like it when people go the other way and make it really specific, because that makes it feel really, really real, and I suppose the other thing is that in order to offer something different to what's around already, you have to find something that, I mean, this sounds really commercial, but like a sort of unique selling point of your own music in some way, and suddenly I'm not sure I've ever really had that confidence in my musical skills that I can just be like, oh, I've written this thing that's where the music is just on its own is just so amazing that the lyrics can be whatever, it doesn't matter. I've always kind of felt like I've got it like for the songs to work, the lyrics are going to be a really, really important part. So I mean, I suppose also if you've got a really good tune and then some lyrics that catch people's attention as well, that's still better than just a good tune anyway. So there's no drawback to like paying some attention to the lyrics you're writing, I think. And I suppose trying to find ways of incorporating other different aspects of my life and interests into the songs I think it's something that has helped make the songs more interesting, kind of make them more fun to write and play, and also has helped people to sort of what's the word? Help people connect with it a little bit more.
Definitely.
And I mean, so now our lead single on the that we put out just a week before the album came out, and it's also our most streamed song by some way, is it's called "She Loves Ted Bundy," and it's all about I wrote it about my girlfriend, and she well, when I say about her, I did use a little bit of creative license on some areas of the song, but there's also plenty of real stuff in there as well, and because she is quite obsessed with like serial killer documentaries and podcasts, and she'll fall asleep to serial killer podcasts because she finds it fun. And in fact, let me just show you an artifact that made it into the song. This is her Ted Bundy mug.
Oh, good lord!
That gets referenced with lots of pictures of Ted Bundy, and that's one of the lines in the chorus about having his picture on a favorite coffee cup. So it makes it quite well. I haven't heard another song quite like it, so I guess we've done something right in that way. And actually, it's a song that I think a lot more people related to than I would have ever expected. Really, it's I suppose there's the market for serial killer podcasts. It's almost all women, but but they she's not the only girl around who is very obsessed with serial killers, and especially Ted Bundy.
It's a much bigger niche than you'd think, actually. I know. A shocking amount of people. Really, I mean, it's not something I've really ever delved into. It's like I find it interesting. I'm quite a paranoid person, so it's just like I couldn't be up watching these things about you'd never know this person was a killer. I was like, all right, sick. I wonder who I know who's a killer now. Like,
do you think there's always? I mean, what I remember speaking to someone who was a zoologist, and she was really the animals she found most interesting were the ones that could potentially eat her, because there's always something a bit, I don't know, a little bit more intriguing about like a bit of danger, especially if you're able to sample that bit of danger in a safe way.
And I also think it's that matter of like you go into a crocodile exhibit, you can eat me, why don't you? Like it then becomes almost curiosity of like, you have all the power to like literally turn me into lunch. Like, what is the nature of these animals? And that's what intrigues me, because I'm not really a big animal guy, but it does intrigue me of like, we just don't fathom, like we just see every other animal at such a lower level, like to us, but at the same time it's like we just don't know how they're wired. Like, that's the thing. Like, that lion could be making the funniest jokes of that lion over there, and we don't know. It's like they have just the same emotional spectrum as us. We just can't understand it like our own.
I'm just trying to think of where animal humor comes in. I think there have been. It's well, the thing is, like, but lions definitely are not communicating with each other on the same level as we are, because
No, not like
we would be able to. We'd be able to. We would be able to like learn the language to an extent. I mean, people have studied dolphin language, dolphin communication really in loads of detail, and they have different sounds to indicate all sorts of different things and help the pod navigate and discuss where seals are, and all sorts of like really really high level stuff.
Dolphins are so smart. But there's one post that I've particularly seen that really changed my mind lately. It was a video of a lion. Like, there was a photographer like out in the jungle, and a lion roars, and obviously when a lion roars next to you, he shits himself, and then he turns around and the lion's just smirking at him, like, and he just disappears. And I'm like, that's a lion that knows what he's doing. Like, that's a smart animal. Like,
although don't we see? I think we see bits of that with our pets, though. I mean, so I live with two cats, and they will sort of. I mean, they will like play hunt me all the time, and and do things that will like make me jump a bit, and it's kind of like that's fun for them, and with each other as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think but also I wonder, is there a level of like, we've domesticated like cats and dogs so much, like by now have they almost just kind of picked up on it? Like, were they always such smart animals, or if just being around like the human race for so long and being like siphoned in to that lifestyle, like has that like over time slowly kind of made these animals more like knowledgeable?
That would only apply, I think, if they're able to pass the knowledge down the generations. Now, the apes do that. In that there's been experiments where gorillas have been taught sign language, and then their offspring end up learning sign language as well and being able to communicate with people, for example. So, but I don't know how much like cats or dogs would be able to, how much they would pass down the generations in terms of what they can, of things involving living with people, though. Although they undoubtedly do pick some things up from people. I mean, like there's been some studies around the accents that pets talk in. So there's So Scouse cats and dogs have sorts of shorter, higher pitch meows and barks.
That's quite cool, actually.
And also, I remember back when we had landlines growing up, there were our cat would, she knew that when the phone rang, we would go over to the phone and pick us up. So she'd run over to the phone and smack it. She didn't really know what she was doing, but she knew that was it's definitely a thing she learned from us on some level.
Yeah, and it's like, it's so crazy. I think not just animals, everything in general simultaneously now feels like it's developing so fast, but also so slowly compared to how it was like 30 years ago. Because I watched a gorilla play Pong the other day. It's like they've got a gorilla like cinched up, because I think it was when they were testing Neuralink and they put it on a gorilla, and this gorilla had it implanted, and he was just playing Pong just purely on like his brainwaves. I'm like, that's mental. But then you also think of it, and it's like in the 60s we were like, cool, that's the moon, when we built a rocket. It's like I don't know, I feel like we're always moving so fast because you can't really comprehend too far beyond what you currently have until it's there, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking about how spectacularly inaccurate depictions of the future have been. Things like like where so many different films have predicted flying cars and what are some of the other everyone living up in space and stuff like that. And people didn't predict just having everything on our fingertips on our phone. And because the teachers who told us we wouldn't always have a calculator with us, for example, where it's like, well, not only have we all got calculators with us all the time, but there's a whole load of
I think it's it's so funny because it's like 2020 was the futuristic year in like the 80s. It was like it's like and they've got flying cars and they're wearing neon, and 2020 was actually I can't leave my house. Like, I am not allowed to leave my confines.
There's a massive plummet in air travel because of COVID and everything. So it was a crazy year. I suppose that was in a way that was. I wonder if on some level that put us a bit back in touch with the fact that we may have all this technology, but we're still mortal, and we can still still die. So prepare properly for a pandemic.
Yeah. Although when I don't know if you agree here, when I actually look back on like 80s things, we're like, oh, we're going to have levitating car. Why do we want levitating cars? It's like so we can be in traffic 3 feet off the ground. Like that actually doesn't help. It looks cool in a visual, but why do we actually want that? I don't get it.
I suppose you can travel in 3 dimensions, couldn't you? You could go over the things that are in front. So you could like stack the traffic instead of just widthways. It could be vertical as well. But
but if that did happen, the laws they get in place for that would be like horrific.
Yeah, and there's also, I mean, one of the other issues is surely the energy aspect. I mean, like, how would it's the amount of force that you need to make something fly when it doesn't need to be flying, it doesn't really make any practical sense.
Yeah, fundamentally, it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I don't know. I like to hear about the big breakthroughs. It's like the other week I heard about data had been transported for the first time ever between 2 devices without any like Bluetooth link or anything, like no waves, just point A to point B. And I can't really comprehend that, but apparently it was a really huge deal.
This is so. Some of my bandmates are very, very knowledgeable about these things, and I'm totally not. So I don't know. I feel like I'm not really in any position to comment on the specific on how impressive or not that is, or how useful or not it is. But I mean, it sounds impressive.
yeah, exactly. It's just like I'm quite content here and just being like, sounds cool. Don't really know what's going on, but I'll nod my head.
I'm in the band. I'm very much the one who's like, we need to do this technical thing. Can anyone do this? Because it actually meant that getting the album finished was so with all the sort of bits of editing and just like things like just cutting off the edge of the silent bits on the ends of some of the recordings just so that the album flows together. So just really really basic stuff like that. It just takes you need people around who know how to do that and have the software to do it. And it was it's
the thing is, I think that's the best thing for music is when you have like a team around you, because I mean I make my own music. I can write, I know I can write, I can record, I can deliver, I can mix. I cannot produce. That's my weak spot, but I've got a net around me, so it's like it's not the end of the world because I know there's people who can like help me. I know my strengths. I feel like in our band that's got to have such a heightened sense of, okay, I'm good at this, but it's like we all together have like the skills.
Okay. Yeah, and it makes sense to play to your strengths, doesn't it, as well? If you're trying to do a thing that you're not good at, it's just you've got to kind of have everyone in the trying to assign the roles correctly where you can.
Yeah,
it's a really important part of the. I mean, the teamwork aspects of bands is massive, and I mean, I suppose it's been an interesting sort of dynamic over the time we've been going in a way, because I think in a funny sort of way, actually, the last few years, I feel like I've had a bit more like control over the sort of over what happens with the band, I guess, because because of the other people who were in the band at the start. David passed away, and then Rob moved up to Scotland. So it's sort of it almost meant, rather than being more of a kind of collective effort, it's become a bit more like, not entirely. And I wouldn't want the other, it's important for the others to feel part of it, but I think it's been a bit more like my band than at any point previously. And actually, that's probably. It does, in some ways, it does make things a bit easier to coordinate, because you've got, whether or not my ideas are good or not, at least they're all being, there's at least that hopefully there'll be like a level of coherency about them. So maybe a bit like in the Monday Night Wars of the late 90s, Vince McMahon had a big advantage over Eric Bischoff, because he didn't have to put his ideas to any directors who had to sign it off, and he could just do what he wanted. So whether his ideas are good or not, he got to do.
But I don't know. Bischoff also did do quite a lot of mental things off his own back. But he
then had to justify it to like the executives.
Yeah, I don't know how they justified some things. It's like the whole thing where it was like, Mick Foley's gonna win the title. Yeah. You don't.
You when they announced it on Nitro, and people.
That was such a stupid idea. No one was going to go, oh well, I know what happens now. Let's go to WCW. Then they're going to go, oh my god, that's sick. I've got to see this. Like,
yeah, it was. That was the sort of that's why that doesn't normally happen. Why people don't normally advertise what's on the other stations. Yeah, that was.
It's so backwards.
That was so funny.
I mean, obviously, maybe there was some big like business brain behind it who made it seem like a great idea, but I physically can't fathom how that was ever going to work in their favor.
Well, they thought it was gonna, it was a way of almost just a. I guess just a sort of dig at the opposition, like a way of saying, "Oh, look how rubbish that show is. You see, this is why this is so much better," and it just totally backfired, because they just totally. I suppose it's about not. You have, and there's a similarity with bands here, isn't there? That you have to, on some level, be on in touch, in tune with your audience and what they want from anything that you're providing. And if if you're like not on their wavelength, then then you're more likely to make a horrendous cock up like that, and end up driving them away.
The Monday Night Wars, man, it was so cool. And then really, I know WWE technically won. There were no winners because the invasion angle was kind of shit. Like, it wasn't good.
It just didn't really go anywhere, did it? And and also there's the lack of competition for so many years since as well. That's
true. I mean, now competition's picked up. It's like bigger than ever. But AEW seem to be trying as hard as they can to kill their company lately.
Yeah, I mean, because I realized that a big thing for me on what I end up watching is just the convenience. And so since having Sky, it's like, well, and Netflix, it's so much easier to watch the WWE stuff, whereas ITV player is kind of rubbish. So and I don't know if the convenience aspect gets talked about enough, because that does make a big difference to what people watch, I reckon.
Yeah, and also it's just Tony Khan. He's not doing a great job at booking. It's like, because he's doing the same thing. It's like Will Ospreay pre AEW was my favorite wrestler because he's from Essex. I'm also from Essex. Like, he literally grew up about 2 miles from me. So it was like, he's my guy, my hometown hero. Yeah. And even when he went to AEW, I went to All In 2023. I was there. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, AEW was such a strong contender. And now I'm just like, Ospreay kind of annoys me. It's like, because the booking is the same. It's bring a megastar over, have them feud for the championship, win the championship, lose it, go to the mid card. You don't hear from them. And it's like, there's too much talent. But like, there's not enough people. And I know you can't really have too much talent, but there's too many people not being utilized.
Not enough ideas to make use. Not enough good ideas to make use of them all, or at least not enough coherent ideas as well. There's a lot of there are way too many angles that just don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I think the best example, What has MJF done the past year?
I haven't even been watching, so yeah. But nothing that I've noticed. So
Exactly.
I guess
he disappeared.
Yeah. And he's ridiculously talented. So the fact that he's not even being noticed is not. Well.
Yeah, definitely. But okay, I'm noticing the time, so I'm going to hit the 2 big hitter questions now. Then.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, we'll start with the basic one of my personal favorites, the serious one. This is where it gets deep, it gets gritty. It's where you've kind of really got to lock in. It hits you. What is the best sandwich?
Just thinking of all the Roy Keane jokes about the prawn sandwiches. Actually, maybe based on that, I might be inclined to go with the prawn sandwich. But I haven't eaten a whole lot of prawn sandwiches in my time. I'm going to go with that anyway because it inspired that legendary football joke.
Yeah, and you know what? I have had quite a few prawn sandwiches, and I'll agree. I do like a good prawn sandwich.
Definitely good. Yeah.
Okay. Now this one will take a bit more time because you'll really have to think for this one. I'm about to talk very quickly as I deliver the script I do for every single episode. I'm going to ask you to make a band. Now, there are a few rules. You can have as many people or as few as you want in this band, as long as you have the four fundamentals of a singer, a bassist, a guitarist, and a drummer. You can be in the band, but you don't have to be. They can be alive or dead. They will be alive when they perform, unless you specifically request them not to be. You can have anyone on any instrument, but they will not magically learn to play that instrument, and I think that is everything.
And so who is going in this band? Okay, so supergroups aren't always better than other groups, but I feel like for this exercise, it would be wrong not to try and put a supergroup together. Yeah. So who is my drummer going to be? I think because Dave Grohl seems like too obvious a choice, although I am tempted to choose him. But who else? If I were not to pick Dave Grohl, who would I pick? I'm going to pick Butch Vig because he's a fantastic drummer and also can come up with and knows and yeah, I actually really like a lot of garbage and stuff. So I'm going to pick Butch Vig on drums, and then on the vocals, I'm going to pick Jenny Lewis from Violet Valley.
That's a very good choice.
She's a fantastic singer, and she can also write really good lyrics when she's at least on her best songs. And I think there's a lot of people who are very good technical singers are not great lyricists. It's I don't know if it's people thinking that they don't need to work to try, if it's almost like, I've got such a good voice, I don't need to like have good lyrics. But no, you do. And yeah, if you can have both, then that's definitely going to be a good thing. And then who am I going to have on guitar? I think I'm going to have Rivers Cuomo and Jim Adkins on the 2 guitars. Between them, they'll figure something out, and it's going to be good. And then on bass, who would I have on the bass? He's died, but I want to go with Andy Rourke from the Smiths.
Good choice. Is that alive or dead?
I'd have him alive in the band. I don't think he'd enhance the experience being dead. But Smith's bass lines are very underappreciated. They
great.
So I think he didn't get the writing credit, but the general consensus seems amongst people involved in the band who aren't, generally seems to be that him and Johnny Marr kind of, came up with a lot of the musical stuff before Morrissey got involved. And I think, yeah, he said the bass certainly sounded good with in his hands anyway. So
yeah.
Oh, and also, so I don't know how well that would work, but I would go and watch them.
Yeah, that's a pretty decent band. Do you want to name it?
Ooh, now what would I call it? I'm just looking around the room for inspiration. On something that isn't just really. I feel like there's going to be some kind of object that hasn't had a band named after it before. It could be called. Probably overthinking this now. Looking at collections of various different board games and thinking about whether, but then there might be copyright issues. But then this band could afford to deal with any copyright issues if they needed to, couldn't they? So maybe that's not such an issue. I also don't want to. Oh, I'm struggling with this. I don't know. But this is something I would want to go away and think about. I think, but I feel like I also want to just make it want to be decisive. So I will call them the newly assembled bar stools, because I'm sitting on one.
Okay, well, guys, if you want to listen to the newly assembled bar stools, send them a DM. It might be harder for some than others, but okay. Well,
but people can listen to Midland Railway.
They can, yeah,
on all of the various streaming sites.
And you know what? You took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, link in the description for Midland Railway. Check them out. Show some love. While you're there, you might as well follow Uncensored. Might as well follow Keeaun Jones, even though he's not here. Go stream his latest single. It's pretty good. Might as well also follow me. Go get excited for my music that's not out yet, but you can go, yes, I can't wait for that to come out. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for coming. Had a lovely time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. But yeah, thank you for watching, everybody. Make sure to do the likes and the subscribes and all the other generic things that you're usually told to do. And we'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much and goodbye.